But the brutality of war could not be laughed away. The German soldier, FranzBlumenfeldt, wrote home of the strain of living in a trench.
Dear Mother, your wishing you could provide me with a bulletproof vest is very sweet of you. But, strange to say, I have no fear, none at all, of bullets and shells, but only of this great spiritual loneliness. I am afraid of losing my faith in human nature, in myself, in all that is good in the world. How is it possible that it gives me more pain to bear my own loneliness than to witness the suffering of so many others? What is the good of escaping all the bullets and shells if my soul is injured? Franz.
A few yards away, the British and French were enduring the same hardships. To stay alive, soldiers conspired to limit the killing. It was called Live and Let Live.
Command made it clear that a certain number of shells had to go over every day in order to make life miserable for the enemy. But okay, you sent them over at that time of day when the enemy would not be having dinner. You wouldn't fire it at a position where you were likely to hurt many of the enemy. You actually hadn't done the enemy a lot of damage, but then he hadn't done you a lot of damage, and therefore you would live to fight another day.
Dear Mother, I have now got so used to the life here that I am extremely sorry that I wrote you such a miserable letter at first. We neither shoot nor are shot at much. Our occupations consist chiefly in sleeping, eating, playing chess, writing letters, and reading the paper. When someone makes music on a harmonica, and the others softly or loudly hum the same tune, really, it can be astonishingly snug. You see, it is quite a pleasant life. Franz.
Live and Let Live did not save the life of FranzBlumenfeldt. He was killed 11 days before Christmas. One of a million soldiers who died on the Western Front in 1914. On Christmas Eve, 1914, temperatures dropped below freezing on the Western Front. In some places, it began snowing, obscuring the moon. Then all across the German lines, lights began to appear. At first, the British thought the Germans were preparing to attack. But instead of rifle fire, sounds of singing drifted across no man's land.
The Germans would be heard singing Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht. The British would respond with a British Christmas carol. In some places, food was lobbed over into the opposing trenches. In one or two instances, the Germans erected Christmas trees. And there was a kind of mutual curiosity, certainly instances of soldiers applauding each other's singing.
The curiosity led to something never again repeated on the battlefield.
In one or two places on Christmas Day itself, the first curious, slightly headstrong people, perhaps from both sides, poked their head above the trenches and being made aware that somebody over the other side wasn't going to shoot it off, then clambered cautiously out.
One of the first to take part was Captain Charles Stockwell.
I ran out into the trench and found that the Saxons were shouting, "Don't shoot! We don't want to fight today. We will send you some beer." A German officer appeared and walked out into the middle of no man's land. So I moved out to meet him amidst the cheers of both sides. We met and formally saluted. He introduced himself as Count something or other and seemed a very decent fellow.
By now, these soldiers knew that the war was going to last a long time, and that many of them would not survive. The unofficial truce was a chance to bury the dead. At one funeral in no man's land, soldiers from both sides gathered to honor the fallen by reading the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
The Christmas truce was the last twitch of the 19th century. By that, I mean it was the last public moment in which it was assumed that people were nice. It was the last gesture that human beings are getting better the longer the human race goes on.
December the 26th. At 8:30, I fired 3 shots in the air and put up a flag with Merry Christmas on it. The Germans put up a sheet with "Thank you" on it. And the German captain appeared on the parapet. We both bowed and saluted. He fired 2 shots in the air. And the war was on again.